Hey, Cassie, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yes. So tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Well, I am a little bit about myself. I am a mom to a crazy 2.5-year-old boy. Um,
I know how that is.
and my husband and I and my son live in a super tiny town in Oregon. It's like less than 3,000 people in our town. And we just moved here. So it's been a really fun change to be out like in the country with the fresh air and yeah. And what do? I spend my days working from my home office, helping online coaches get their group coaching curriculum nailed down so that their clients can get really amazing results, so that they can get really amazing testimonials, so that they can get more amazing clients.
Cool. So what kind of got you into this? What's your background?
So I have a background as a teacher. So I have a master's in teaching. My bachelor's is in psychology. I think it all kind of ties together, the psychology
Totally.
aspect of it.
Yeah.
And I have like a decade of experience teaching and writing curriculum writing curriculum for groups of students who would come into my classroom with like such varying degrees of experience and knowledge and understanding and home situations and all these things that we kind of don't really think about. We just kind of we get in our heads and we're like, oh, this is some great information and I'm going to deliver it. And then you get into this group and there's like all of these different people. And it's like, how do you reach them all? So I've spent a long time creating curriculum to reach everybody, no matter their level, to help them get results. So
I like
that's
it.
how I got into it. Yeah. And I've had this is like my, on my entrepreneurial journey, this is like part of the evolution, I guess. So I also was an online business coach. And in that role, what I really saw was that there's a lot of entrepreneurs who have great information, specifically online coaches, right? And they want to get this information out, they want to scale. And so the logical step would be like a group coaching program, right? Like, so you booked up your one-to-one, you want to scale, so you're going to launch an online group coaching program. And there's a pile of resources out there
Yeah.
to help you sell it and launch it. Sell and launch, sell and launch. But there's really not a lot out there for how do you build that program out to make sure people are engaged, taking action, and getting results. And so I thought, here's a gap that I can fill. And
Yeah.
that's why I decided to get into it.
I like it. So what are the main differences between, a group coaching program and just one-on-one?
So, the big difference is when you're coaching one-on-one, you have a chance to have this really intimate, deep relationship with your client. And you can really customize the support you're offering them. They have likely some access to you like via Voxer or email, where when there's questions to come up, they really have that close support. And honestly, like, that's great, but most people, I would say, that are looking for results are not in the position to buy the one-on-one package anyways, right? Like, that's your top deal. That's not for everybody.
Yeah.
And so the big difference is that when you step into a group coaching program, now you have, 20 or 25 of these individuals, and it's like, here, help them all get the same results that your one-on-one, help them get the results.
Right.
And that's a huge deal. How do you help everybody stay engaged? How do you design the material that you're presenting in a way, there's a lot of conversation about like learning styles, and really we all learn with our whole brain. So it's not necessarily a learning style that somebody has, it's a learning preference. So is there like a way that you prefer to learn?
Watching videos.
Right.
Or podcast audio. Like I need to learn, like I like hands-on learning. So like if someone is just telling me something to do it, I'm like, great, can you show me or can we do it together?
Right. Yes. And okay, so this is such a good point. Okay. So that's some people learn best by reading. My husband can learn anything by like reading it and then like going and doing it. That is not me. I really need to see somebody like do it in front of me. I need to have some chance to practice with somebody, but we all have this different learning preference. He can learn that way too. And I can learn by reading, but it's just not how I prefer to learn. Like, it's not how it happens quickest. So figuring that out and developing a curriculum in your program that helps you just right on top. It's planned in for how you can meet the 4 basic learning preferences that people have. So there's auditory, kinesthetic, which is like the actual doing. There's reading, writing, and then there's visual.
Okay.
And so how to incorporate all of those things to give everybody the best possible chance of getting access to the material you're presenting. And then there's also this aspect of like people coming in and having just different varying degrees of experience with whatever you're working on them with. I was just talking to a client the other day who's putting together an Instagram course. And she was like, here's the thing. I don't want to teach people how to do Instagram basics. That's not what this course is about. But if you don't specify that, and if you're not aware of that, then when you market your Instagram course, you could get a ton of different people. So it's also a matter of like narrowing that curriculum down so you know who to market to.
Totally.
Yeah. So lots of big differences between one-on-one and group.
So what are the things that you can do to make sure you're really reaching the 4 different ways of learning and really helping your students succeed?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And it really depends on like the topic that you're coaching them on. But generally speaking, I would say some things to definitely include. If there's a video that will help, include it. I am of the mindset, and this might be like, whoa, Cassie, like, what are you talking about? But I think that group coaching programs I don't want to say should, they are most effective if they are run live. So there's a trend of pre-recording videos and having people watch them.
Yeah.
It's not going to get you the best results. And the reason that seems so kind of off-putting to people is because it seems like more work to kind of teach it live. But likely, I mean, if it's a group coaching program, you're already doing a live session with your people.
Right.
So taking advantage of that and putting out a live lesson is going to give you a better opportunity as the leader, the coach, the teacher, to figure out if people are getting it. Otherwise, you're going to spend a lot of your time on that call remediating what people didn't understand from your video. So that's fine, but it's better if you're in that live experience with your people so you can see how they're, accessing the information.
Right.
So that's the first like big thing that I'm really an advocate for. And then including a video if it would be helpful. And so I'm just trying to think. So like for Instagram, as an example, let's just go with that. If you're putting together an Instagram course and you're maybe teaching your people like how to do stories effectively. Like I honestly don't know. I'm like, for me, Instagram and me, we're not like the best of friends. I'm more of a Facebook gal. But let's say you're really wanting to help people work on stories. Maybe you have some videos showing like effective stories and not effective stories. And then you can highlight, you can discuss as a group like the differences that you saw and help build that understanding so that they can see example 1 is great and got great results. Example 2 is not great. So that would be a good example of a visual that you could include.
Yeah.
Other visuals that might be helpful would maybe be like graphs, charts, tutorials, like things that would walk people through a video of you walking through something if it's a step-by-step process. So again, it really depends on like what kind of coaching you're doing. I think worksheets are a great thing to have. Not all of your clients will use them, and that's a-okay. Yeah. I'm not a worksheet gal, but I think some people are, and it really helps them with organizing the information. So include those if you can, if it's applicable and helpful. Anything that you can do to get people acting in that coaching call is going to be helpful for you. So you had talked before about like, you want to watch somebody do it and then you want to practice.
Right.
Right. And so this is the foundation of any good teaching. I'm going to give it to you right here. This is the model. I do, we do, you do.
Yep.
And so guiding your clients through that so that they have, first you would model or discuss or teach whatever it is you're going to ask them to do. And then you're going to give them opportunities on that call to practice with each other or to practice, with you. Or there's these awesome things in Zoom called breakout groups. So you could like break people out and have them practice with each other.
Within Zoom?
Yeah.
Are you kidding?
No, I'm not kidding. You can break people out into small groups. It's
How
amazing.
did I not know this?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll send you like the links to the tutorial in Zoom so you can include it in the notes.
Oh my gosh. You're blowing
Yeah,
my mind. This is cool.
yeah. And so you give them the practice. I think a lot of times, like with coaching, here's the real thing is like, if people wanted to make a change, information is not lacking. Like you can go anywhere and get information.
Yep.
It's not likely that the reason they're coming to you is because they don't know what to do. They probably could figure that out, or they've heard what to do. What they need is, and this is why I work primarily with online coaches, is that they need your support. They need you to be there to ask questions to. They need someone to practice with, to
Yeah.
be, where they feel safe, like falling flat on their face, practicing whatever.
Yeah.
And then that, the more you fall on your face and get better, right? Because that's what happens. You have to fall on your face if you're going to improve at anything, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, then there's the confidence there to go do it on your own. And then come back and say, hey, I tried this on my own, and here's some things that I ran into. But it's really helping all of your clients move from showing them to practicing with them to them doing it on their own. And the big gap that I find in most programs, that are out there right now, is it goes right from I do to you do.
Yep.
And it's missing that big middle piece, which is why I'm an advocate for live teaching.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love the Zoom breakout ideas and like actually
Mm-hmm.
practicing. Oh, you've got my brain turning on like different ways we could do. Because I'm always thinking, how could I help my students more? Like, how could
Yeah.
we really serve them and get them that transformation? I love it. So I've gone through courses before that are like 95% text and it's like worksheet stuff.
Oh my goodness.
And that for me like almost killed me.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, there were like a few videos, but then the videos were like super boring and I was like, oh my gosh.
Or like when they're videos that are like a PowerPoint and they're basically just reading you the text on the PowerPoint. That's
Yeah.
not like, folks, don't do that. Like, don't do that. That's not helpful. If you're going to do a video, like make sure you show up in your, happy smiley face at least, and like give some personality behind it. And
Totally.
don't just like read something that people can read on their own. Just make it an audio if
Totally.
that's what
So
you want to
to
do.
really help our students succeed, we should have like the worksheets for people who like that detail, have the video where it's engaging, have
Mhm.
some kind of coaching element where they can really start to practice and do something like as together. What if it's like a
Mhm.
DIY program that we have? How could we serve
So
those
do you,
people?
So DIY program. So I was just reading an article, and I'll send the link to you also, so you can link to it in your show notes. So if you're looking to get your clients results, and this is going to be like a hard, it's really just the reality, and I'll
Totally.
break it down. And this is going to make some people uncomfortable too. But if you're looking to get your clients results, like a DIY course for people is not going to, it's likely not going to get them results. The completion rate that I read about in this article, which I think the study was done in 2000, it was either late 2018 or 2019. But basically, course completion rates have not gone up, they've gone down.
Hmm.
So for online DIY courses, the completion rate, according to the study, was like 3 to 5%.
No.
Yes. And so that, to me, that was like, what? I thought it was at least at like the 10 to 15% range.
Yeah. So that's okay. So before we had Activate, we had the Impact Blogging Academy.
Yeah.
And I was going to transition that to being a DIY program. And I worked really hard to get the webinar up and running and it was selling and everything. And I just had this like gut feeling of this is not going to serve my people well, of like they need the coaching. And
Mhm.
so even though like this was going to be a really profitable part of our business, I was like, we need to scrap this so I can serve them better and help them get even better results. So I like that you said that because I think that it's important for people to know. I have gone through the best course that I've gone through is KBB, the Knowledge Business Blueprint with Tony Robbins.
Oh,
I
is
don't know
the
if you
Tony
guys have
Robbins
seen.
one?
That was the one that I have completed. I actually went through the entire thing. And just by going through that, it gave me some ideas of like, if I do have a DIY course, Pin with Purpose,
Mhm.
how could I increase completion rates? Because they have like different prizes and things, like they have bonuses that unlock if you complete certain parts of the course, and like they just made it super
Yeah.
interactive to make you want, like, it's, for me it's like a challenge of, ooh, like I want to unlock this bonus, I need
It's
to
like
do this.
gamifying the online learning environment.
Totally.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know, like if your goal is getting somebody to complete the course, I think that's a great way to do it.
Well, I mean, why wouldn't we
Yeah.
want someone to complete the
Yeah.
course? Like, I don't want someone to spend money and then not
Right.
do it, you know?
Absolutely. So my point there being, so yes, you want everybody to finish your course. Here's my thing about online courses. I think they're great if it's, I'm trying to see how to, here's the thing, Rachel, I don't want to make anybody mad, but I'm going to make somebody mad. So I'm just going to,
You're always going to make
like,
someone mad. So
whatever.
piss people off. Go for it. I'm fine with that.
I'm just going to say it. Is that basically somebody could complete your course and still never implement.
Totally.
They
And
could
that
still
drives me
never
crazy.
implement.
I
You
know.
can go through, it's like reading a book and never implementing, right? So basically what we have now is we have all of these, you know, there's a book for anything also. And now I feel like there's an online course for anything also. It's just that instead of paying $20 for the book, and that's a hardcover on Amazon, right? Like
Right.
now we're paying $300 for videos.
Yeah.
But there's no real difference except for the format in which the information is presented in.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so it's like, I think if you really want to add value to a course, is then like have a little bit of an upsell for like some additional like group question and answer or group coaching or something like that. If you're adamant about doing an online course, here's where online courses can be helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Is if it's something like how to do Photoshop, how to do Canva, how to do Pinterest,
Yep.
how to, you know, because these are things that are just how-tos.
Right.
And really reading about how to get like your Pinterest board set up is not going to be as effective as going through and watching the actual setup process.
Right.
Right.
You'll be so confused.
Right. But the thing is that doesn't require a whole lot of mindset work. It's mostly just like, if you're going to do it, then go do it. Like, here is the information. And most people are like, if they're going to take that course, they're probably like, yeah, I want to get my Pinterest set up, or I want to get my Facebook business page set up. I just bought a course about getting your business page like maxed out on Facebook. And it's not a lot of mindset stuff. It's just like how to do it.
Right.
The challenge comes is when there's courses that are like, improve your money mindset, like just down, you know, evergreen courses, improve your money mindset. Well, likely they're going to need a coach there to help them recognize the stories that they're telling themselves about money.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to get out of your own head.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my opinion on courses, which is a muddled opinion, but I think there's a purpose for them. But that they're overused and they're not finished. And then even if they are finished, oftentimes they're not implemented on. And so
Totally.
Real solid results coming out of your programs, group coaching is a way to do it. And you have to sell less to group coach, right? Like, you can charge more, sell less. It's easier.
Yeah, for sure. And get people better results.
Yep.
So you say that knowing where people come from, how they learn, how they're motivated is, you know, essential to getting them results. How do we get those insights about people?
So glad you asked this question. Okay, so I've developed this way of working with people, and it's called the client results formula. And there's 3 basic pillars of this formula. And the 3 are planning, delivery, and evaluation. And so this question falls under the evaluation piece. And so the first part of evaluating your clients is really on that discovery, sales call, whatever. And I think that if you really nail this, you're going to save yourself as a coach a pile of headache, because you want people in your program that are ready for it, that you feel like on that call that they are at a spot where this is what they need. This is how they're going to move forward. I think sometimes we can get, and I am not immune to this, but we can get into it's money and they want in.
That scarcity mindset. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so really trying to break free of that and really just say, this is an offer that is for this type of person or a person in this position. And then really putting together questions that will help guide you to an understanding of whether that person is a good fit.
Mm-hmm.
So really it's a switch in how you view that call. Is the call to sell, or is the call to determine if it's a good fit?
I always like saying, like, is it a call to serve? And so I've been on like sales calls before where I'm like, this person is not ready for what I have to offer. I'm gonna recommend them this. So like I've been on a call with
Yeah,
somebody and I'm like, we're not a good fit to work together right now, but you should go to Tony Robbins' Unleash the Power Within. I think that will really serve you with where you're at right now.
absolutely. And I think that there's this it's just like what you put out comes back.
Yes, it's like
Give referrals to people.
yes. I like it's so funny because I was working with one of my clients and one of my close friends, and my mom was like, "Aren't you nervous about sending business her way? Like, aren't you nervous about her like taking your clients and that kind of thing?" And I'm like, "No, the right people will find me. The right people will resonate with her and her message." And like for both of us, there's never been like a scarcity. Like we refer people back and forth because some people might resonate more with me, some people might resonate more with her, and I think we're going to work with whoever it is that we're meant to work with. So
Yeah.
refer away. Don't be
Yeah.
afraid of sending business to other people because
No,
it'll come
don't.
back.
It'll come back. And the other thing is I mean, yes, is it money in your bank? Sure. But to what end? Like, to how much headache is that money going to sit in your bank if you are working with somebody who is not ready and you're
Yeah.
constantly trying to pull them along and move them through your program?
Trust me, it's not worth it.
You don't want that. Nobody wants that. And I bring this up to people when we're talking about this because it's like, as a public school teacher, I had zero input on who came into my classroom.
Yeah.
Not one little bit of influence over who was the butts in the seats, right?
Yeah.
And that made it really hard. I mean, I remember a year where I was at a really interesting, like, just the boundaries of the school were very interesting. And so there weren't a lot of, like, socioeconomically, like, there weren't a lot of kids in the middle. We had kids that were living, like, in extreme poverty, in homelessness. And then we had kids that were living in, like, McMansions. All in my same classroom. And those kids come with varying levels of background, experience, support, food, rest, like all of those things, right? And I have no control over that. But now I'm in a position where I am to serve all of them. As a coach, you don't have to be in that position. You're given the luxury of pre-screening every single person that comes into your group coaching program to make sure it's a good fit. And so think of it that way. Like, you have the privilege of doing this.
Totally. For sure. Okay.
Yeah.
How can you make sure that people aren't getting left behind? So like they join the program and they're excited, but like how do you make sure people don't either like drop off, fall off the face of the earth, or just like feel overwhelmed and everyone else is kind of taking off without them?
Yeah, so I think this is a great question, and it's also in that evaluation piece. And now a lot of this is going to go back to planning, but this ties in a little bit to what your previous question also was. So you have this, what I call that sales call is like a placement evaluation, right? You're deciding, is this the right place for them? Yeah. And then before you start a single thing in your program, it is my very strong suggestion that you have what I call a summative assessment. And what that means is you look at your course or your program that you're going to take people through, your curriculum, which I highly recommend you have. It'll make your life easier. And you look at what are the like points they need to be hitting along the road to get to the end goal, right? It's going to be a lot of steps. It's not just one big jump. And so what are those steps? And then how will you know when they've met those steps? I think a lot of times as coaches, and it's not anybody's fault. Like, I have a master's degree in this stuff. Like, this is what I do. And if you don't, it's easy to think that giving the information means people will get it. Yeah. It's just not true. Yeah. And so really having a clear understanding of what it looks like at every single point. What does it look like for your client to have met that certain objective? If you don't know what that looks like, there's no way you're going to be able to know if people are falling off or not. So having that outlined ahead of time, then you have this, what's called a summative evaluation. And it's basically just like, if you think about, at least in the United States, your pre-test for any unit, right? The pre-test before any unit is not to make anybody feel dumb. It's to give the teacher an understanding of where everybody is.
Yeah.
And so it's like, where are my people at before I start working with them at all? Oh, so like Rachel, let's say it's Impact Blogging Academy. Maybe every single person that you're working with has their website already set up. Mm-hmm. So now, as the leader of this program, you don't need to spend as much time right there. Maybe you could talk about like doing a quick website audit or something like that. Yeah. So it allows you to target your teaching and your coaching more. But the other thing it allows you to do is to understand where those gaps are. Maybe there's like most people get it, but there's a couple of people that don't. So now how are you going to, when you get to that point in your program, how are you going to help those people that are kind of already a little behind everybody? How are you going to make sure they get caught up? And how are you going to help those people that already have it done make it better or get it done to a higher level?
Yeah.
So you're all still on the same topic, but also having that baseline understanding of where you want everybody to be at a certain point. So if you know that, then you're able to see, well, Sally still hasn't shown me her X, Y, and Z yet. She hasn't shown me her landing page yet. Everybody else has shown me their landing page. I better check in with her and just like a quick whatever. It doesn't, I think a lot of times it's like we want to protect our time because it is valuable and we want to have boundaries. But we also, have enrolled these people into our program, and it's, our job to help them succeed. And so it's like, shoot them a quick Facebook message, or if you like, however you're communicating with them, don't put it in a Facebook group and call them out. Make it individual. Hey, Sally, I haven't seen your landing page. Are you feeling stuck on anything? Like, is there any other resource that I could give you that you would find helpful? And it might not be anything to do with you. It might be like, my dad got diagnosed with cancer last week.
Yeah.
So it's really just trying to figure out like, what is the underlying issue and how can you help them with that?
A lot of times it doesn't have anything to do with the program, and it's like the life stuff that they have going on or the mindset issues that they have that are preventing them from actually moving forward.
Mm-hmm. So a quick check-in, and that's what I call, that's like the formative evaluation. Mm-hmm. And that's a formative evaluation sounds like really formal, but it's really just like, like for example, with kids, when I was teaching, this is how simple it could be. Can you write on a sticky note X, Y, and Z? And before you line up for lunch, throw your sticky note on the board. Then I know. It could be at the end of your group coaching call. Okay, everybody, like, I want you to shoot me a quick message with like your understanding of what we talked about today. Then you know where every single person is at in about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It doesn't take a lot of time.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah.
What's the best book that you've read?
Oh my gosh. Like ever?
Something that's really helped you.
The 4 Agreements.
Okay.
By Don Miguel Ruiz. I think I have these are like my top books. This book.
Okay.
So he talks about, so it's called A Practical Guide to Personal Freedom. It's based on Toltec wisdom, which I think is like a tribe from South America somewhere, maybe in the Mexico area. Anyways, these are the 4 agreements. Number 1 is, I'm not going to get them in order. Don't take things personally. Don't make assumptions. I'm not going to remember the other 2. Those are the 2 that always stick out for me.
Those are good ones.
I have the book here. I'm just going to pull it up.
How often do we make assumptions of like, is this person mad at me or something, when in reality it has nothing to do with you and everything to do with something that's going on with them?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Be impeccable with your word.
Uh-huh.
Don't take anything personally. Don't make assumptions. Always do your best.
I like it. Okay.
And I thought to myself after I read this, if I was still in the classroom teaching, these would be my classroom agreements. There wouldn't be like, like line up this way and blah, 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 all the nitpicky things that classroom teachers like to get into. Those would be them.
Yeah. I like that. I was
Yeah,
listening to a podcast. Oh, it was a parenting podcast, and for whatever reason, I can't remember whose podcast it was. But they said like they don't have a bazillion rules for their kids to follow. Their rules are don't lie and show respect.
there
And
it
that's
is.
basically it. Like everything else falls under those things. So you don't have like a billion things for them to think about. It's just like show
Exactly.
respect and don't lie.
Yeah.
I like it.
Simplify to amplify.
Exactly. What does it mean to you to make an impact?
Oh my gosh. It means like helping as many people as possible get the results they're looking for to make the improvements they want to make.
Mm.
So, like, that's big and bold. But like, I remember even as a kid, just thinking, like, I just want to help people. Like, it's always been in my heart to just, like, I just want to help people. Like, after college, I went into social work. Like, I just always have wanted to help. And so now, how I built that into my business is like, now I'm scaling that impact because I'm like, okay, I can help, you know, Sam over here with her curriculum get better impacts for her clients. So now
Yeah.
I'm making an impact there. And it's like, because I can make an impact with my one on one clients, but I can make a bigger impact if I'm helping them make an impact. So,
The ripple effect is huge.
yeah.
Cool. Any last words of wisdom?
Oh my gosh. Don't be afraid to go with your gut.
Hmm.
Don't be afraid to go with your gut.
That's everything.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
can we connect with you?
You can find me at CassieRighter.com. You can find me on Facebook at Online Coaches Deliver Results and also Cassie Righter, and at Cassie Righter on Instagram.
Cool. Well,
Yeah.
you are awesome.